I need to walk away from that conversation, or you're going to do it genuinely, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So how do we do this genuinely? Because why am I having a conversation with you then? Think about it. I don't trust you. Even if it's your boss, and at that moment it's part of your job, walk away from it because this is not going to get to a result that is really going to. So don't have conversations that are not going to get you the result you want. So that's the first thing. Shut up. Some of us have this compelling thing to talk. We do. You hear people that I have to get this off my chest. No, you don't.
Yeah, you could.
Put it on your chest. Go put it somewhere else. Don't put it on somebody else's chest. Alright? No, so that's the first thing. Right? And don't have this conversation with somebody who you think is already going to judge you unless you clear that space first. Clear it. There's something I want to share with you. Okay? Are you open to having this conversation with me? Here's what I really want to get out of it. Are you willing to support me getting this in this conversation? Set it up to work. Right? We always set ourselves up to feel, set things up to work. If the person says, look, I'm not really ready to have this conversation with you, then leave it there. Can I get back to you on another time? Give them the option to say, I'm not ready for this conversation. Right? And honor that. Don't grudge them, no, I want to talk and you don't want to talk.
Oh, yeah.
I've been waiting weeks now to hear to talk to you and no, you don't want to talk. You can hear it, right?
Conversation gone down the drain already.
Conversation, right?
Conversation gone down.
And all of that is our, what we are bringing to you. The other person never had a chance yet. Because we brought all this into a conversation that we haven't not yet had, and we already started a quarrel.
That's true.
All right? You're going to share.
Morning, Toastmasters, any guests? Richard Rose from that shop Toastmasters Club Barbados. When Tremaine opened her mouth and said the first word, I asked Tremaine, I don't know if this can help because I asked Tremaine, are you comfortable letting me know what you tell me? And if you feel comfortable, is this going to be an emotional topic as well? And she said, yes. When Tremaine said it's an emotional topic, I opened my ears and I did listen. And it made me as a listener, I know you can get wanted listener, be very concerned about what the person is saying. So to have the speaker say, it's okay, it would be right to let the person know, or you can ask the person, are you feeling comfortable? Because, I mean, women are outnumbered, and women do have emotional topics to deliver, right? And I don't mind receiving it.
Yeah, we're there. That's your perception of us, so we work with you. That's fine. But that's a good point. You kind of lead us. Anybody else want to talk about the speaker first? But thanks for opening up this discussion on the leadership. Anyone else want to say anything else from the speaker's perspective in terms of the sharing?
I guess what I started to share and realize that the reaction I was getting was not cold, was welcoming. I felt we didn't have enough time because I could have spoken.
You could have gone on forever, right?
You have to smash him. That's the habit.
This was what he felt. Based on something, no. If her reaction was what he perceived as cold, the conversation would have ended or not gone anywhere. But it is his perception. No checking. That's all we are. Okay, I asked the other person, are you comfortable with having this conversation with me? This is the other way around. He did it to Tremaine. But if you sense that the person is a little nervous, you could check in with the listener too. Rather than assume that the person is just being cold, it could be that you trigger a memory in that person's mind. You know, someone died in the family, you know, something you could have triggered. So it's not the person's rejecting you, it's that you've triggered something for that person, and then you turn around and internalize it. No, you really don't want to listen to me. So I don't talk to. Again, I'm going back into us, right? We need to take responsibility for how things turn out. And a lot of it is in our heads. We haven't checked in with our partners, our team members. We haven't checked in. Okay? Look, then you, Greg. Yes.
What I want to say is that when Chantel began to speak, she was very hesitant. I noticed she was uncomfortable, as if what she was going to say was really impacting on her, and maybe she felt it was going to impact on me. So what I did, especially because you asked that we said nothing, I simply smiled and made her comfortable. I used my gestures, and she opened up. She was able to explain something that I had to tell her made me feel angry. You know, so that's one thing that we can do. Put the speaker at his or her ease, and then whatever needs to come out will
then come out. And thank you for doing that. And in the moment, you did something that was necessary to allow your conversation to go. The reason why I said not to say anything is, what's how our conversations normally go?
Can't wait for somebody to finish.
You're always interrupting and that kind of. For some people, it was really hard not to say anything, wasn't it?
Of course.
Really, really hard. Because we just have this obligation to tell everybody our story. And stop yours. Hold on a minute. I got a better story than you. Mine's better than yours. And the person ain't done yet. Greg.
Now, as the speaker, and with your ground rules,
Let's listen.
it actually felt very therapeutic. So what I took from that, and Janice was a very good listener, but I would admit that initially, being very honest and open and talking about something very real, felt a little awkward, but I just said, let me just go with it and discuss something very real, and that was bothering me. And what I learned from it is that if there is something that I need to discuss with someone, perhaps that is also bothering them, and given how good it feels as the speakers to get it off your chest, maybe it's just to approach them and invite them to share their views, rather than booking time with them and then expressing your views first. So that's one of the things I'll take away, and that's one of the things I'll see if I can incorporate that and be as good a listener as Janice was.
So what was happening is that you were both mentoring each other. So the roles kind of keep switching back and forth, right? You tend to be really good at that in Toastmasters. Now,
I think the second question that you asked, what didn't you hear? I think it must be very difficult for most of us. I want to know how the audience experience it.
Anybody was able to respond to what you didn't hear? I'm going to the listeners. All right. Whoever jumps up first, go. Whoa. Okay. Okay, you can say it.
I would say that the speaker was so taken up with what she had to express that she didn't reach to the stage to say what I didn't hear. She wasn't able to express her other side of the story because time was short.
Okay.
No.
So
the listener have to say.
Listener, you were the one who was in the listening.
I didn't hear that.
Okay.
I didn't hear the other side of her story. I only heard the stress that she was expressing because of time span.
Okay.
I didn't.
So listen to her. Now let's look at the process. She's basing what she didn't hear on what she was actually listening for. And that's the point I wanted to point out. That's what we then say we didn't hear, because we have expectations in our head of what the other person. So once you're listening to the story, we start to write the story too. Yes. And then write it in our version rather than let the person let it out.
Yes.
So then we start to tell them what they should have said. Same thing happened with evaluations, right?
Yeah.
Because we are doing the speech for the person, and we want it to come a certain way. So here's what I didn't hear you say. But there's a place for that. There's a place for that. When somebody, there are people who tell you story and they leave out parts of the story. They leave out the part that they will tell you how this person was awful to them and they do this to me, but they never told you what they did. Exactly. Right? So the reason I brought that out for two reasons. What you're not listening for is not what you want to hear. but the parts that didn't finish the story completely. So help that person to, so what you want to do is to ask, your next question then would be to ask a question to help them to complete their story, not what you want to hear. You say this, 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 and this, and there's a missing. What else, or who else was involved? So not like, why you want to tell me about your mother-in-law? Because that's what's going in your head, right? The question to ask is, who else was involved and how did that affect you?